Tight end has been an interesting position for the Minnesota Vikings this offseason, where it sort of flew under the radar in terms of need, right? So the Vikings, they lost Tyler Gronklin, respect, to the Jets, got himself paid, love it. They also let go Chris Herndon, who came over in a trade from the Jets. Thanks, Spielman. Whatever. But the Vikings didn't significantly add tight end help in free agency besides Johnny Munt, we'll get to in a second. And they waited until the 7th round, their final selection in the 2022 draft, to take Nick Muse out of South Carolina. Now, I like Nick Muse a lot, and there was a lot of other tight ends throughout the draft that the Vikings could have selected, but it sort of is what it is. Like, you have so many needs, and you have so many positions that you do need address, but you can't address them all in a certain order, right? But the Vikings tight end position, is it a little bit too thin? Is a little bit too thin. Is a little bit too Johan Santana prime, dental floss thin, ERA thin. Well, let's take a look. So Vikings pass catchers. You got Irv Smith up at the top. Now, Irv is in a contract year, and he's looking to get paid. He's going to be extra motivated. He's coming off of that knee injury where he had the meniscus that cost him his entire 2021 season, where Gronklin's breakout season was supposed to be Irv. Is what it is. But he comes in, and hopefully he can be the true tight end one. We've seen flashes of potential. He's never really had the full spotlight because he's had to share time with Gronklin. He's had to share time with Rudolph. But can he be that guy? And also, it's important to note that the Vikings last couple years were among the league leaders, if not the leader, in terms of multiple tight end sets. So the Vikings use tight ends and they cannot lie. And now the Vikings, with Kevin O'Connell coming in, he's probably going to use a lot fewer multiple tight end formations. The Vikings were dead last in the NFL in terms of 11 personnel last season, and the Rams were up amongst the leaders. So I think that the Vikings will certainly go more three wide, especially since you got Jefferson, you got Thielen, you got KJ, you got ISM, etc. So in terms of tight end depth, isn't as important as in years past, but especially in goal line situations, when you have multiple tight ends out there, yes, sure, you could certainly use an offensive lineman. Blake Brandel thrived in that role last season as a 6th offensive lineman, essentially playing a tight end spot. But, I mean, who's tight end 2? Like right now, if you had to throw a dart, who is tight end 2 for the Vikings after they break camp? I would say maybe Nick Muse, the 7th rounder, has a lot of potential. Zach Davidson, last year's 5th round pick coming out of Central Missouri, the tight end punter who can either tight end or punt, was really disappointing last year. Ben Ellefson, prior to NDSU, Minnesota kid. He's a great blocking tight end, which is great, but we need a little bit more. And then Johnny Munt is a solid do-it-all tight end where he played some great special teams for Matt Daniel with the Rams, as well as Wes Phillips has some tight end coaching background as well. So it's important that he was into the fold, but they didn't really do much. So overall, well, I shouldn't say that it's thin. There's a lot of potential, especially with Muse, especially with Davidson to a degree, but there's a lot of question marks, right? And now, even though the Vikings are at the 90-man capacity, there's certainly going to be shifting after rookie camp this weekend, as well as OTAs. So question is, should the Vikings take a look at the free agent market? Never hurts to look, right? Plus, the Vikings have around $7.5 million in cap space. You're not going to break the bank for any of these names. The corpse of Jimmy Graham is just floating out there. Gronk was in Hopkins randomly at the high school the other day. So he's been in the Twin Cities. Maybe he landed at MSP. He's like, hey, this is really great. Maybe they drove by TCO Performance Center Bar and Grill down the road from the airport. It's like, hey, this is a great facility. I know that Tom is back, but Mom, get my football pants. I'm going to wear purple. Probably not. Also, it's shocking that Gronk is only 32. That's kind of crazy, man. Eric Ebron, a former number 10 overall pick by the Lions. I think it's 2014. Yeah, because the Vikings took Anthony Barr before Aaron Donald, but so did the Lions. Maybe I'm off on my years. Doesn't matter. Either way, he was a top 10 pick. Didn't work out there. He sort of floated around. He had a nice renaissance there with the Colts, as well as he had a decent year with the Steelers. So he's out there. Kyle Rudolph, no. Also, it's shocking to think that Rudy and Gronk are the same age. Nah. Or maybe we just tacked on additional years to Rudy because he ran so slow. When he was 26, he ran like a 60-year-old. I don't know. Blake Jarwin is out there. A pretty solid tight end 2, tight end 3. The ageless Jared Cook is out there. Tyler Croft, Tomb Raider. Jesse James. And I feel like Jesse James. Jesse James has been on the NFC North tour because he was originally on the Steelers, and I think he went to the Lions and then the Bears because the Bears had 17,000 tight ends. Levine Toilolo. So interesting Levine Toilolo story. So I think he was out of Stanford, right? But his first team was the Falcons, and in 2014, Daddy was up against it in terms of fantasy football. I think I had some tight end injuries, so I just threw a dart, and Toilolo and the Falcons were playing Teddy and the Vikings at TCF at the bank. There you go. TCF. I was trying to combine TCO Performance and TCF Bank Bar and Grill, whatever. So they're playing at the bank, and I was like, I'll pick them up because I'll be watching the game anyway. It's fun to have a little sweat. But the Falcons, for some reason, had only dressed 6 offensive linemen because they had injuries and whatnot. So 2 offensive linemen get hurt, of course. So now Levine Toilolo goes from the backup tight end to the right tackle. I'm just like, that's my luck in fantasy football. I think I lost by a point. Like, hey, Matt Ryan, you couldn't run a tight end or tackle eligible play one time. Come on, man. Derek Carrier's out there. He did have some crossover with Kirk Cousins in Washington back in the day. My Cole Pruitt, your Cole, my Cole, our Cole Pruitt, just out there chilling. I loved it, man. I loved it, man. Steven Carlson. I do not know this man, but I appreciate the last name. Never trusted Carlson. And also Chris Herndon is still out there in free agency. But I don't know. As of right now, it could be much ado about nothing. I think that once the coaches get the players on the field during OTAs and minicamp and to see what they have in their 5 tight ends. Also, notably, backup fullback Jake Vargas does have some tight end experience from UNC back in the day. So they'll figure things out. And hell, maybe this is much ado about nothing. Maybe Nick Muse will rise like a phoenix and just be like, ooh, value tight end pick in the 7th round. Maybe Irv will just rip the cover off the ball and be phenomenal this year. And since the Vikings are running a lot fewer 2 tight end sets, are running a lot more 11 personnel, maybe this is all moot. Maybe this is just all tilting at windmills at this point. But your thoughts and our thoughts. Do the Vikings have a tight end depth concern? Let us know in the comments section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work, put a little something in the Venmo. But until next time, Skol, production value.